What do you hope to accomplish with your personal attacks on the speaker? You're saying lost it.
Excuse me. This just shows how fake you and the news are. When you say a personal attack, did you hear what she said about me long before I went after her? Did you hear? She made horrible statements. She knows they're not true. She said terrible things. So I just responded in kind. Look, you think Nancy's the same as she was? She's not.
Wow, listen to that last sentence. You think Nancy's the same as she was? She's not. That was President Trump just speaking to reporters at the White House about his recent attacks on House Speaker Nancy Pelosi. For nearly all of his term, President Trump has been uncharacteristically hesitant to go after the speaker, but all of that changed on Thursday as his frustration with House investigations into his finances mounted. After dubbing Pelosi Crazy Nancy at a White House event, the president tweeted a Fox Business video that put together moments when she hesitated or searched for the right word in her press conference earlier that day. We're going to play that video on the left side of your screen with the full context of her remarks on the right side of your screen to show you how the clip was edited. Watch this.
We had a little took a little longer on the floor. Sorry for the delay. We had a little took a little longer on the floor than I had anticipated. Custody of the border. It's important to note that in the 10 years before this, not a single child died in the custody of the border. Everyone started sending signals. The plan was, as we agreed at the meeting 3 weeks ago, the president was to present his proposals at yesterday's meeting. Well, everyone started sending signals that he might not be ready or interested.
Now, if you find that concerning, here's something yet more worrisome. A video of the speaker slowed down to make her sound inebriated. Late night shows often do this for a funny drunk effect, but make it clear that they edited the clips. This one purports to be authentic, but again, watch carefully. We put it side by side with the real video.
We want to give this president the opportunity to do something historic for our country. We want to give this president the opportunity to do something historic for our country.
I want to bring in NBC News reporter Ben Collins. Ben, I kind of have to ask you this question every time we talk about one of these things. How do they circulate and pick up traction, despite the fact that people start to understand that these are altered or not a good reflection of what really happened?
Yeah, so on Facebook, there is this hyper-partisan reality that you know about and we know about. This started on a hyper-partisan far-right Facebook page. It has millions of views on there until now. Facebook says they're going to start effectively just de-ranking it a little bit to get it off the pages. They're not going to ban it outright, but it's going to be harder to find on those pages.
They're calling it demoting it.
Right, demoting.
What does that mean? I hadn't heard that term until I saw you guys reporting it.
Yeah, so what they do is they make it harder for people to stumble upon this stuff. You know, you have a news feed with a bunch of stuff in it. It's going to populate less in that space. You're still going to be able to find it if you seek it out on Facebook, but it's not going to be easy to find now. And that's the thing. So this is one of those things called a cheap fake. There are things called deep fakes, which are these elaborate contraptions of like videos using AI
completely inventing what somebody says.
Exactly. This is something that can be done on a phone or on iMovie or something like that. They're just slowing down video a tiny bit, and this can be done by the general populace, and that's really the scary part of 2020, right? You can do this if you have this army of people that support you with just like a tiny bit of technical skill. Then this can be done en masse over and over again. The president can just pick the one that he likes best.
How prevalent are the appearance of these types of things, or are they becoming across the internet, the average person's internet experience?
Oh, extremely prevalent. And I think the difference between now and 2016 is we're paying attention more. In 2016, there was a video about Hillary Clinton having all these diseases and all of these things. That's still up on YouTube. It's an InfoWars video. Still up on YouTube, 7 million views about how she was about to die from all these diseases. That was 3 years ago. She's still kicking. So. Yeah. This is a thing that's been around on the civilian internet forever. We're now just starting to quantify it, I would say, and see, because our politics is so taken over by it, we're starting to see where the stuff comes from, and we're starting to get sort of like some language around it, like an etymology of it.
And why won't Facebook take this off if they know it's altered?
So it's confusing for them. They want to protect parody. They want to protect they want to protect speech, they say, right? And they don't want to get in the business of taking down all of these videos specifically, because then they just take down a lot of content. So they say every time we're going to face one of these things, we're going to put it in front of fact checkers who can say this is not real, just FYI, and we can de-rank it from there. But that doesn't. You're still going to be able to encounter it, I think.
Ben, good to see you as always. Thank you for reporting on this for us.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.